Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to talk about credit cards. So why should you listen to me about finances is because I just got my credit report and look right here, it says 848 points. You can only get up to 850 points and I don't think anyone ever gets 850 points. I remember reading a while ago that some guy had the highest score in the nation and it was 848 as well. So here you go. I'm going to explain to you how you can get such a high score and a little bit about other little finance tricks. Mainly today, I'm just gonna talk about credit cards and how I deal with them. I'm just gonna highlight some points. The first point is the total amount of debt you have running on your credit cards compared to how much credit limit you have. So if you happen to have a really large credit limit, it doesn't affect you very much if you just have 1% of that. Let's say you have, I don't know, $100,000 of credit line, right? And then you owe $1,000 all the time, 1%, then it's not gonna affect it very much. But if you have half of it, let's say 50,000, if you owe, then it's gonna be a big deal. But at the same time, if you have a really low credit limit, like let's say $1,000, and then you owe, just $500, then you're also gonna get a really bad score. Very important thing is I always pay the credit card on time. I always pay it in full. You need to make sure you don't have a running balance on it, which affects the first criteria. If you have a whole bunch of crappy credit cards laying around and you don't really use them, it's not really good to cancel them because then that'll reduce your total amount of credit you can borrow. How do you pay on time all the time? You just make sure you have auto pay on and make sure that it pays all the time and every single time. Some cards that don't allow to do auto pay is Bank of America, which is a bit tricky. So I just tend to not use those cards at all just because I can't do auto pay in those. One other thing I noticed, the credit report will show how active your card is. If you have a card that's just sitting there and you're not actively using it, it'll kind of be labeled not actively used. I'm not sure how much that deals with the credit score, but what I try to do is always just use a little bit on the card, and if it's on auto pay, it doesn't really matter. It'll just pay the small amount every month. I have been late a couple times on my credit cards before, and they charged me something like $35. And you can call them up and tell them, this or that happened, and then they'll just simply waive it for you if it's your first time, and you can save yourself $35. Except a lot of times that missed payment is still gonna go on your credit score. This was quite a long time ago. Of course, that doesn't factor in the high credit score I got now. Credit score aside, what I really want to talk about is how to use your credit cards, mainly for the amount of cash back you can get. There's a way to optimize all of this so that you get the maximum cash back. So if you have a high credit score, you probably have some of these credit cards I'm going to talk about already. So let's say you bought something for $100 and at the end of the month you paid your credit card $100 and they pay out the $95 to the merchant, and then they keep $5 of it as a fee for the transaction fee. What you're doing here as a cashback program type of thing is if you use it wisely, you can actually take this $5 and put it back into your own pocket. So essentially, you're giving the merchant $95. So if you spent $100 on a restaurant meal, then you're really only given $95. I'm gonna pull out my wallet here and kind of show you some of the cards I use most often. You can basically get about 5% cash back on almost everything. A lot of times like Chase Freedom would give you like these rotating categories, which I don't even deal with because I have this set of credit cards that is not rotating, and I don't have to keep track of which one or which month to use or whatnot. So basically it's like a fixed category, and there is a upper limit on how much you spend on each one. Those are like smaller details, but if you just keep within this limit, then you won't go over and you'll always get the 5% back. So for example, if you have a Target card, you just get one of those, so whenever you shop at Target, you get 5%. You get the Target card and you get 5% back immediately off. So I just get that card, and whenever I go to Target, I use the Target card. I have a SallieMae Rewards card, which gives you 5% on groceries and 5% on gas. up to $250 per month. So it's a good amount. You know, if you spend over that, then you might need to supplement it with another card that will allow you to get 5% gas or groceries or whatnot. So this is kind of enough for me to spend 5%, to spend $250 on gas and $250 on groceries. Next, there is this card called US Bank Cash Plus card, which gives you 5% on restaurants. So I think there's no limit on that. So you can just go to any restaurant. Every time you go to a restaurant, it's a Visa, so you can use that at more places than the American Express. And you just whip out this US Cash Plus card and you get 5% on everything. $100 meal, right? You get 5% off of that, it becomes $95, and it adds up quite quick if you're a big restaurant eater like I am. I go to restaurants every now and then. The Fidelity Investment Rewards card, which gives you 2% on everything else. You don't actually get this back in cash, you get this back in your investment. So if you're going to put money in there anyway, you didn't just pretend, oh, I'm gonna put money in there, let me just not put as much in there and then pretend, you know, it's 2% back. It's really, you know, it's all really the same anyway. So it is 2%, except you don't get that in cold hard cash. So the last one I want to mention is the Chase Inc. business card. It's a business credit card, so you need a business to use this one. You get 3% back on office supplies, so Office Max or whatever, you can get the 3% back. Home improvement like Home Depot or Lowe's, you can get 3% there. Whenever you go to these places, you use this card for those things, and it seems like out of all these things, you got everything covered. Pretty much everything you would spend normally anywhere, you can have these covered. If you're paying bills, you would use the Fidelity investments, such as like DSL, cable, whatever, insurance, car insurance. You just pay that with the Fidelity. So let's say your car insurance is $1,000 a year. 2% off of that is $20. If you set it up properly, this is like you get all this cash back, and you don't have to do much work other than whenever you pay, you gotta be conscious of which card to use. Sometimes when I go to a restaurant and I had a few drinks, I would forget to use the US Bank card and use another one, and I don't get the rewards. So the next one I want to talk about is these special ones. You have your base ones that you use all the time, and then sometimes maybe if you have a really big purchase, then you can get these credit cards and then buy that really big item, or you can get these credit cards and put all that spending in there instead and get your rewards back. So if you got the patience like I do, then you would go around getting credit cards, getting the offers and getting the rewards for them. And after you get it, you get the rewards, you can cancel the card, because usually they have a yearly fee. So if you're thinking about getting the Sapphire card, it's actually pretty cool because the card is actually made out of metal. It's sandwiched between a little piece of metal, and it feels noticeably heavier when you hold it. It's like, ooh, cool, look at this. It's a little heavy. You got a lot of credit in here. That's why it's so heavy. So one of the deals is you can get a Chase Sapphire card, and if you spend about $2,500 over the course of 3 months, you get 40,000 points. The 40,000 points will convert into about $500 if you spend it within their little travel network thing. That's the most bang for the buck you can get, is buying plane tickets, because if you use that for anything else, for example, transfer to an Amazon account or something like that, you only get $400. Your best bet to get airplane ticket or something and increase this by another 25%. So right there, you spend $2,500, you get $500 back. That's pretty darn good. That's like, you know, you can buy whatever you want for, you know, 20% off really. The next one I want to talk about is the Amex Gold. This might have been a special deal because I got some letter in the mail asking me to apply. Basically what this card is you have to pay a yearly fee of $100, but first year is free. You spend $1,000 and they give you $500 after you spend $1,000. what the heck? It's like you get 50% off of something. So I promptly spent $1,000 on, you know, whatever stuff I need to get. For example, this camera that you're seeing me through right now, I bought with these cards. And you get $500 off. I got a $500 Home Depot card, which was one of the better deals, because for a Home Depot card you can actually use that card for quite expensive things. Yeah, this is actually the card I got from them, and there you go. I'm going to talk about a few other cards. So there's this Bank of America Cash Rewards card. There was some deal about it, and you know, I mentioned all these cards, so there's always deals with credit cards, and whenever they give you a big bonus on top, make sure you can meet the requirements and jump on top of it, and make sure that if there's some sort of annual fee, make sure you cancel the card so you don't pay the annual fee. It's never a good idea to pay the annual fee, even though they make it really attractive for you, because you might go, oh, I'm gonna spend enough of it, and then the points gonna make up for the annual fee. Well, for me, none of my cards have annual fee, and I enjoy that I don't have to pay an annual fee, and I have to, you know, make some sort of minimum purchase in order to, you know, go over this catalyst hump here. I just want to remind you that you cannot do auto pay on this. You have to manually pay, so it's kind of annoying. But I remember getting about $100 of free money from this card transferred into my account. When you do the direct transfer, you get another 25% or something like that. So it was actually $125 after you spend like $100. Great card, but the cash back on it, it's not very good. So I'm going to be canceling this card. So the next card is the Better Balance Rewards card from Bank of America. You get a reward every quarter, which is every 3 months, of a maximum of $30. And what you need to do in order to get this reward is you need to use the card once and make sure you pay it off, and you do that 3 times, and at the end of the quarter you get $30. You gotta make sure you pay it every month, because there's no automatic pay on this card, nor any of the other Bank of America cards I ever had. So you gotta be very diligent with this card in order to get the reward. If you miss it for 1 month, then that's it, you don't get the reward. Everyone has this Chase Freedom, it seems, and it has a rolling category thing where it's usually like 5% for this or that. But then when they put the category as movies, I'm not gonna watch that much movies compared to gas, right? I watch very little movies, and so the rotating category is a bit annoying. So after they started this rotating thing about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I think, I've started using this card less and less. And from before, you saw that I kind of replaced what this card did with other cards that are not as popular. Then you would have the Amazon card here. A lot of people like this Amazon card from Chase because you get 3% back on everything you buy on Amazon. It's great, you get this card and you don't have to do any thinking, and you can just go and get whatever you want. You get 3% cash back. But what you can do as a hack is you can go buy gift cards of that 5% amount from, you know, some other cards, and then you can use those gift cards on Amazon instead. Effectively, you're getting 5% rather than 3%. So 3% is actually a bit on the low side. So one thing to say about these, the Chase Sapphire and the Amex Gold, is that they do have a yearly fee. After I get these great deals, I'm planning to cancel them right before they charge me the membership fee. The way I remind myself how to do it is I put it in my Google Calendar, and then I remind myself, hey, cancel this before I charge you $100 for membership fee. Just do it. You gotta be diligent about this, and you can do it. If you're not on top of things like that, you can miss it. So make sure you're the type of person where you can handle these kind of extra tasks over the course of the year. So here, I'm just tallying up all the rewards I've gotten over this year. These are, you know, the big chunks of it. I probably have little things left and right added in somehow. Chase Sapphire, $500 right there. Amex American Express Gold, you get $500 there. US Bank, SallieMae, 5% on restaurant gas, groceries. I estimate about $500 a month I may spend. It's probably closer to $700, but let's just say it's $500. That's about $300 a year in cash rewards. It's actually real cash that gets credited into the statement. Then you have these one-off cards. This Better Balance one is going to be canceled because it does not have very good percentage cash back. Bank of America Better Balance Rewards. You got $125 back from there. Bank of America Cash Rewards, where you do that quarterly thing I just talked about, you get $120. Oh, you total it up, you get $1,545 just spending the money that you already would have spent. So I'm curious about you guys, if you do the same kind of things with your credit card. It takes quite a bit of effort, and I know some friends of mine do exactly the same thing. They may not have the same exact cards, but it's roughly the same. You try to get all the cash back and stuff, and I know at least one other person has one of these little card things. They write down which card has which kind of cash back, and then you just pull it out and then go, oh, okay, yeah, you know, for gas I need to use this card. At a hardware store I need to use this card, so this is like a cheat sheet for that. So if you have any suggestions for any kind of better deals, actually go and apply for whatever card that has a really good deal. I'm sure there's better deals out there than what I mentioned, but I think these are pretty good already. If you're interested in the Chase Sapphire card, I'll put a link at the bottom and you can apply to that. So those are all the best cards I know of. I hope you get something out of this and maybe apply to some of the cards and get all this rebates back as well. So if you like this video, please click thumbs up for me. It really helps me out, and subscribe if you really like my channel. So these are all my credit cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So if you have plenty of credit cards like I do already, don't be afraid to cancel some of them. And if you cancel them, it's actually good for you because you can remove that from the credit card company and let it lay dormant and stuff. And maybe years later, they'll come out with another great deal and you can sign up for it. Versus if you have the card already, you can't sign up for it anymore.